there was also a leaked board memo from Google, like people are not going to pay for proprietary models when open source models are getting the job done. If I am a Golang guy and someone is like, Kunal, you're using this open source model, it only does Golang very well. It doesn't do Java. I have this proprietary model that does Java and C++ very well. Your model only does Golang. I'm like, I do not care.
Yeah.
This is what I want Golang. It does Golang. End of story.
Yes.
Apple is a good example of this. iPhone is not the best phone in the world.
No.
But people use iPhones. And one of the biggest pain points in AI has been like education, lack of skills, research funding. Open source helps solve most of these issues.
Personally, I think the open source, the closed source labs, just because of the nature of their funding and the commercialization that is behind them, I feel like they're going to stay ahead at least for a little bit longer because there's always a new frontier, right?
Yeah.
Now we're talking about world models that understand more than just language.
So a lot of these enterprises that are spending millions in their infrastructure already, they're like, yeah, cost is cool, but I don't want stress in my life. I have too much money. I have a lot of money. This is what the billionaires do as well. You know, they buy private jets and stuff because they don't want the stress, they don't want the hassle. Okay? They're not saving money, they're just spending money. But it's nice if you get
Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of The Merge. Today I'm joined here by Kunal at ScaleCon in Pasadena, Los Angeles. I'm very excited to have you here, Kunal.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great.
I'm excited too.
That's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're working on, what do you do here at Scale?
Yeah, I'm Kunal Kushwaha. I work at a company called Cast AI. I lead their EMEA region for developer relations. And Cast AI is a application performance automation platform. So if you're using the hyperscalers, we optimize your infrastructure and do some cool stuff with it.
What was the most exciting thing that you've seen? Maybe a talk or maybe a booth or some contributors?
Kelsey Hightower's keynote was nice at NixCon, and his daughter gave a talk as well, which was also quite nice. In terms of booths, I feel like this is one of the conferences where everyone is like engagement baiting. So like people have fun stuff on their booth.
Okay.
So getting that engagement from the crowd.
Yeah.
So Grafana has a 3D printer,
Oh,
which is
wow.
quite nice.
Yeah.
You have the cupcakes.
Yep. Treating you with sweets. What
So
can we do?
it's interesting. A lot of security companies there and a lot of Linux projects over there that have dedicated servers, and you can just play around with it, which is quite cool. If you have a boring corporate booth, then it's hard to attract developers at a conference.
Yep.
So I am seeing the trend towards like someone has a popcorn machine, which is interesting, on the booth.
Food always works.
So that always works. So
Yeah.
if you're exhibiting at a conference, have a little fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we are going to be at KubeCon in Amsterdam. So if you go to our booth at Cast.ai, it's like a Lego booth.
Oh, wow.
So fun stuff. Do fun stuff at your booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any exciting open source projects that you learned about here that you haven't heard about, or maybe some maintainers that you met that you're really excited about?
I spoke with folks like from Carpenter, which was quite nice. I work with infrastructure.
Yeah.
Not a lot of Kubernetes people here, but I did meet some people who are working on Carpenter. So if you're using AWS, it's an open source project, like you can run it on top of your infrastructure and it sort of like optimizes it.
Right.
We work with Carpenter as well, like we help open source developers who use Carpenter.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see like what the community is working on. And because, we are talking about AI
Yeah.
and I work in Kubernetes. So the conversation is around how do you make Kubernetes smart? How do you make infrastructure smart?
Yep.
How do you scale infrastructure with the help of AI and whatnot?
Oh.
So all these conversations I've been having with any infrastructure people that I meet here. In terms of like other projects, like a lot of dev tool companies here, obviously, which I feel like is the 40
Yeah.
of the Scale conference. So it's nice to be out of that Kubernetes bubble
For a little bit.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
Meet people who are like a lot of developers, a lot of students here also, which is fun.
Well, let me pull you a little bit into that Kubernetes bubble because I'm very interested. I think that's a lot of developers don't necessarily deal with that because we always hope that the Kubernetes people will take care of our deployments and all that, and we just want to ship stuff.
Yep.
So what do you see coming there, especially like with bringing AI and automation in there and more developments? is there anything like you're excited about maybe for 2026, and how you use AI to develop the next frontier?
We are moving into like a phase now that the cloud thinks for itself. So what I mean by that is like not just with cloud, but any industry. If you're not utilizing AI tools, you're getting left behind. There's a quote like AI is not going to replace you, but a person using AI will.
Right.
I don't know who said that, but it's quite apt. And think about it like when before even virtual machines were a thing, people were like, we have to, if you want to scale up your infrastructure, you have to add physical servers.
Yeah.
Then VMware came and there was virtual machines, and now people are like, I can do, you know, virtual machines. I don't have to physically add more servers. And then containers came, and people are like, now Kubernetes is there, Docker is there.
Yeah.
Red Hat was like all over it. AWS was all over it. So people were like, okay, now I don't have to do the manual labor tasks like sysadmin stuff. So does that mean my jobs are gone? No, but Kubernetes created more jobs. So I think we taught the cloud how to like scale and all these microservices and stuff. And now it's time for AI, just like to see where AI is headed in the infrastructure space.
Yeah.
So imagine like you are requesting, let's say X amount of CPU, and that's way more than what you need. So there are AI tools out there that can sort of like determine, okay, based on your workload patterns, this is not cool. So,
Yeah.
which is what we do at Cast AI. I mean, there are a lot of providers in this space. Cast AI is one of the leading ones. I don't want this to
Yeah.
be like a pitch at all. But just taking as an example, you let the AI do the heavy lifting, which is what you mentioned, that developers don't want to babysit clusters.
Yes.
Like even not just developers, infrastructure people don't want to babysit clusters.
No.
If I'm a platform engineer,
But
I'm
if
an
you don't do it
SRE,
well, you end up with a huge bill. Happened to me. Happened to many. before.
Exactly, and Kubernetes is complex, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. Like I like this example Kelsey gave once. He said, like I came from London, for example, in a plane, and the plane is super complex. I wouldn't be able to do that. And the point you are mentioning around costs, there's just so many areas in which people lose money. They don't utilize spot instances. They over provision their resources. Someone leaves the cluster running all night, for example. You request, way more than what you need. You don't make use of the discounts that these providers like AWS, Google, Azure, whatever you use, they're offering.
There's a whole consulting business around
And it's
it.
not just about that. It's also about people are not going to be happy with lower cloud costs if that comes at a cost of reliability and efficiency. A lot of time, money is also wasted not on pure cloud bills, but also the time and the human hours
Right.
that people spend in babysitting their infrastructure. And Kubernetes is just so complex. People are like, how do we get started? AWS is, I mean, it's very powerful, but it's a little, it has a lot of, it has a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So when I look at AI in the infrastructure space, it's giving people that time back, figuring out those hidden patterns that might be very difficult to do manually. And the infrastructure people can just focus on deploying. Developers can focus on building. If you want a good example of this, like Cast AI is a very good example. So you just let the AI handle scaling, scaling down, scaling up. If something goes wrong, the AI can just figure out where the issue is, and also like with discounts and stuff. So for example, one other example is like if you're using spot instances by AWS, you get a very heavy discount, like 70-80%. Problem is, they can take away those instances like this. They give you like a minute notice, and they're going to take away the instances because these are spot instances.
Yeah.
So it's not reliable. So it's very good for like tasks that do not require like not production tasks.
Yeah.
For example. So there are tools that are making spot instances more reliable that you can do migration live. So if a spot instance is going down, there are some like AI tools can be like, okay, this instance is going to be taken away. I'm going to move it to another instance. So you end up saving like 60-70%
Wow.
in cloud bills. You can do this manually as well. People do it with Carpenter, but it's very, very hard to do. So I would say figure out what tools are there in the market, try them out. So I'm not going to be like taking off my Cast AI hat. I'm not just saying, go with that, but like in the industry in general, see what kind of tools people are using to manage infrastructure. And word of mouth plays a very big role because if a really big bank is using one particular tool, it means that, okay, they have the compliances set up. They have a lot of stuff set up. Code reviews, another, big part when we talk about infrastructure like CI/CD pipelines. You folks at CodeRabbit are doing some really cool stuff. So yeah, that's what I believe in. I think like embrace AI, don't be afraid of it. Try out everything, see what works for you, escape the hype cycle. If something's working for someone, it might not be working for you. Yeah, try out stuff on your own and then work with it.
I'm very intrigued by that idea of managing my infrastructure with AI, especially since I personally have very little idea, and I burned my fingers before with managing some of the side projects that I have some users on that I have, not managing well the instances that I had deployed. So how exactly do you guys bring AI into that? What are like the connecting points? Can you take me a little bit deeper into understanding where you bring AI into managing infrastructure?
Yeah, so we look at your patterns of your workloads. If you are over provisioning your resources, and it's not just Kubernetes clusters, it's for databases as well, your AI models as well. So we have a service called AI Enabler. So basically, it figures out which sort of model runs best for what sort of tasks you want to do.
Is that like an open router kind of situation where you have like a semantic understanding of the prompt that comes in and then you route it to the best model, or?
Yeah, so you can bring your own, it's your own infrastructure.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like you can connect your other API providers as well. It's like OpenAI or Gemini or whatever. And it sort of like figures out what's the most efficient way to run it. But the thing I want to talk about is one of the biggest pain points is, I'm sure you know about this, GPU shortages. CastAI has a service called Omni Compute. So imagine you are running in AWS region in Europe and now you're out of GPUs. You want B200, you don't have it. But you have a B200 in like Google Cloud in Asia. So you can connect that GPU from a different region into your existing Kubernetes setup with not many changes. So that's been quite popular, like reducing that sort of like gap between like the market shortages of GPU, which is I'm actually quite excited about. A lot of companies doing cool stuff in the hardware space. Like Cerebras is doing very cool things.
Yeah.
Nvidia is obviously the market share. I was talking to Kelsey about it. Like what do you think scares Nvidia? You know, but these companies are like too big. AWS and GCP, they're going to be around for like the next 50 to 100 years. So if you're a niche provider, that's where my interest lies. What can you do to survive?
I see.
But like with Cast AI, yeah, we take a look at what your historical usage has been. We were doing AI before AI was popular, and figure out sort of like which instance type is. Another example is which instance type you should be working with. So if you're working with like a large node, but it's like no, the kind of workloads you're running, you're going to be okay for a medium node in this region. Cast AI can do that. Cast AI can also live migrate your workloads from one node to another node in a cluster. So if you're using spot instances, it brings reliability to spot instances. That's one of the quotes from one of our customers. It can also tell you if a spot instance is about to be taken away, and optimize a bunch of stuff. So all over the hardware infrastructure, cost is not the primary concern for a lot of people. We are moving into like this AI managed infrastructure space. So bringing that application performance, application or automation performance to your infrastructure, and cost is sort of like an outcome of that, right? So a lot of these enterprises that are spending millions in their infrastructure already, they're like, yeah, cost is cool, but I don't want stress in my life. I have too much money. I have a lot of money. So my next concern is not having stress in my life. This is what the billionaires do as well. They buy private jets and stuff because they don't want the stress, they don't want the hassle. Yeah, they're not saving money, they're just spending money. But it's nice if you get 50 to 60% of cost reductions and you don't have to babysit your clusters. Apart from that, like one of the cool stuff we do is with Carpenter. So if you're using Carpenter to optimize your AWS infrastructure, Cast AI runs on top of Carpenter. A good example is like if a developer is using Carpenter or a DevOps person and they're like, I'm gonna ask Carpenter for 8 gigs of RAM. I need an infrastructure, I need a machine with 8 gigs of RAM. But your workloads don't require 8 gigs of RAM. What Carpenter is going to do is going to give you 8 gigs of RAM. So for that human level specifics, Cast AI works very well.
Cool. Well, I think like we delve very deep into the infrastructure hole.
Yeah.
Let's turn around a little bit, and I'm more curious about learning a bit more about how you work. I mean, you seem like you've seen a lot in the AI world. You're obviously working at a cutting edge product. What does your day-to-day workflow look like? Like, what kind of tools do you use to program, to code? Are you maybe an IDE, a terminal guy? What's your favorite agents?
I'm a terminal guy.
Uh-huh.
I do like Cursor, is nice. For terminals, I think Warp is quite cool.
Ah, okay.
The Warp,
That's interesting. You're the first one who says that here.
Warp terminal is quite
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
I like Warp terminal.
What do you like about it?
It's just really intuitive, and the people are very community focused. So if I have a feedback for Warp and I share it in the Warp channel, in the next release, I would see it get released. Even with CodeRabbit, like we did we did like an event with CodeRabbit. We did like a nice hackathon. So we had like 5,000 people take part. And then they obviously filled out a survey like, this is cool, this is not cool. And then CodeRabbit implemented the changes in the next release, which was very nice of you folks. But I think Warp is very nice. I did a podcast with the CEO. They are quite, developer focused in terms of like, we get that everyone is different. And they also support like bring your own key.
Yeah.
So they don't lock me into the Warp platform. So I can use OpenAI, I can use Claude, I can use whatever, which is nice. I think Claude's cool. We use Claude quite a lot as well. I tried Lovable as well.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
The functionalities are quite limited, but for people who are not developers, I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
So after trying all these tools, I feel like there's always going to be some tool that does the job better. There are open source models that are a little behind proprietary models, but that is not a deal breaker. If I am a Golang guy and someone is like, Kunal, you're using this open source model, it only does Golang very well. It doesn't do Java. I have this proprietary model that does Java and C++ very well. Your model only does Golang. I'm like, I do not care.
Yeah.
This is what I want Golang. It does Golang. End of story.
Yes.
So I'm not the kind of guy who's like always the latest, the most powerful stuff. It's like what gets the job done. Apple is a good example of this. The distribution is crazy. iPhone is not the best phone in the world.
No.
But people use iPhones,
Yeah, I mean, you're locked into the system.
So
yeah.
there was also a leaked board memo from Google, like people are not going to pay for proprietary models when open source models are getting the job done. So I feel like that is true. And one of the biggest pain points in AI has been like education, lack of skills, research funding. Open source helps solve most of these issues.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting take. I mean, I really like the narrative. I think personally, the open source, the closed source labs, just because of the nature of their funding and the commercialization that is behind them, I feel like they're going to stay ahead at least for a little bit longer because there's always a new frontier, right?
Yeah.
Now we're talking about world models that understand more than just language and and so on and so on. So I think there's a lot coming down. Really love the fact that you highlighted Warp because I've had it on my machine for so long, but I haven't tinkered around with it yet. I'm definitely going to look into it.
It's nice. I like it.
Yeah.
A lot of agentic stuff you can do. The integrations is quite nice, which is what I like. I'm using a platform that is locking me in the ecosystem. That's, I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's just good to know that the company is very open. Like, okay, bring whatever you like. It's fine.
Have you tried open code?
Yeah, not a lot, but yeah,
Okay,
it's quite cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite programming language?
I'm gonna say I'll just jump on the train. I'll say Rust.
Ah,
No explanation needed.
yeah.
If you say you're building on Rust, yeah, people are gonna give you money.
Yeah, that's the Rustification now. It's been the talk and the walk. Yeah.
Before that, Golang is nice. I started my career with Java, so I have love for Java as well.
Yeah. IDE over terminal or terminal over IDE?
Terminal.
Terminal.
Yeah. IDE. Yeah, terminal. If I have to pick one.
Have you been like a Vimmer or Neo Vimmer?
Vim.
Okay.
I have not been using a lot of Vim
Yeah.
since I've been using Warp.
Okay.
By the way, Warp is not paying me to say this. I generally use that. No one here is paying me to say anything. I was literally just, I didn't even know I was doing this podcast. Like, I was literally just walking. I met Juanpa. I was like, do you want to do an interview? I'm like, sure.
And here we are.
But this is all genuine developer
General
feedback.
advice. Yeah. No, I think.
No referral codes, nothing. I think there's a lot more stuff that you can do simultaneously when you're using AI in terminal.
Yes, I agree.
Which is why I like using AI in terminal.
It's very
I can spin up a
interesting.
lot of agents and it just does, yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Do you use Git work trees?
Not really, no.
Okay.
No.
Interesting. We have a very interesting good work tree runner. It's an open source project from CodeRabbit. Has a couple
Very
thousand
cool.
stars. You should check it out.
Nice.
Very interesting for you.
Yeah. What
Um,
do you use?
I use mainly Cloud Code and Codex. So I have
Okay.
like 3, 4 Cloud Code instances and then 3 Codex instances
Nice.
that I use for like lighter, fast work on the side, and then the long running tasks. I have an Opus 4.6. And then I still use Cursor as an IDE to render if I do some front end work, because I really like the I mean, their UI workflow is really good. If you can click on certain buttons and then they'll like copy paste certain CSS elements over into the context, and that part like Claude Code hasn't really. I guess they solved it recently. Like they published something. I haven't tried whatever they put out new, but yeah. So that's pretty.
They
phenomenal.
just hit 2 billion in ARR. Cursor.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah. They also have this new. Have you tried out the new review by proof feature with the video edits where they send you a proof of the change that they did, but with a video edit? Like let's say you want to add a button, the agent goes out
In
because
Cursor?
yes.
No.
Yeah, you should check that out. It's pretty
No.
cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I think Replit is also doing quite cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a really good example of all-in-one platforms.
Right.
So the barrier is shrinking day by day.
Have you tried Base 44?
I have.
I have
Yeah,
not. What's your
not a lot.
opinion?
Cool. Yeah. I haven't used it enough to form any hot takes,
Okay.
but yeah, there's just so many. Even like GitHub Copilot. I've used GitHub Copilot because I'm a GitHub star, so I get it
Yeah.
for free. So GitHub Copilot is nice.
Yeah.
All my projects are on GitHub.
Oh,
So I think
okay.
GitHub Copilot is also quite nice. Yeah, there's so many tools in the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use a lot of them.
That's
Yeah.
great. Well, now that you mention it, tell us a little bit. I think a lot of people who are watching this who might be interested to scale and open source. I also heard about this GitHub Star thing, which is obviously a big award. One of the congratulations one. I think it's an honor.
Thank you.
How do you get there? Like, what do you need to do to become a GitHub Star?
I've been involved with GitHub for a while. Like when I was a student, I was the campus expert, which is like their student program. I would say whatever stuff that you want to do, not just for GitHub, but like any program you want to be a part of. The CNCF Ambassador, AWS Heroes, so many out there, Docker Captains. Whatever stuff you want to do when you are a part of these programs, just start today. Don't wait for you to be like a part of these programs, because these programs just give you like a platform and some resources to do good stuff, but it's not like a barrier. So I was doing open source work before I was a CNCF ambassador, before I was a GitHub star or other stuff. But when you do that, people notice it. And when you apply to these programs like AWS Heroes, and you've already done a lot of AWS stuff, that leads you to basically higher chances of getting selected than someone who has not done anything. So my advice would be like whatever you plan to do, like I want to be a GitHub star. When I become a GitHub star, I'll do this. Just do it today.
Yeah.
But to answer your question specifically for GitHub star, someone has to nominate you.
Uh-huh.
So if you know a GitHub star and reach out to them, like, hey, I've been doing a lot of stuff in open source. These are all my links. That's what I've done. Can you please nominate me? And then just hope for the best.
Okay. Great segue, I guess. Maybe you can give some advice as well. I mean, to be nominated, to be worthy of nomination, you got to start contributing to some important open source stuff, right?
Yeah.
In the area of AI today, I think contributing is easier than ever because of AI helping you to write code. Yet it's also become more competitive because everybody can generate code now. So what's your advice? How do you stick through the noise? How do you make an impact? And where do you start?
Yeah, don't look at open source as a competition when you're contributing. Even if you're like, I wanted to work on this PR, but someone else does that PR who's assigned to it, you can still like review the PR. And open source contributions are not just code contributions. Even if you're advocating for the project that you use, you're documenting like any bugs or features, you're helping improve the documentation, you're helping other people get onboarded. I think that's a big win that counts as genuine contributions. With AI, I think obviously don't make spammy pull requests, right? And leave the good first issues for beginners.
Yeah.
I would say use AI sort of like as a helping hand. And before you make a PR, by the way, I'm completely pro AI.
Yeah.
right? It's great. Use it, but don't just ship stuff blindly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can use it like to code to solve the issues for the pull request. There was a Linux Foundation survey that around 90% or more projects are using open source projects are using AI in one way or another. But don't just be making like completely AI generated PRs that you have not reviewed first. Don't expect like I'll just make an AI PR. This is what people do. They make an AI PR and they're like the maintainer is going to review it. So no, you are making the PRs to make sure it's like good, and then you can make a pull request. If your GitHub has run out of issues, then sure, okay, well, there's always, the projects are always evolving, so there's always something new happening, new features, new roadmaps. So code is not the only way you can contribute.
Right.
Yeah.
Be involved in the community, show up.
Yeah, and that increases your chances of getting selected for these programs.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we can close it at that. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and
Thank you for having me.
yeah, I'm sure we'll follow your journey, and we'll learn more about the next frontier of not only coding but also Kubernetes deployment and much more.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Bye.
Awesome.